don't fall everywhere in case you need to look for them, in case there's an emergency and you have to rummage through your bag. You don't have to have them everywhere. You can also have another one for your phone. Keep your phone separately in its own separate space. You can have another one like this for other things like your money, your cards, and other, little things that every woman carries. Remember, keep your bag organized, keep it neat, and when you change your bag, because we change our bags almost every day to keep up with our clothes, to match our clothes, don't forget your crucial items. This is Self-Care with Irene Joroge. Thank you.
I can't wait to be back in school.
Watoto, it's important for you to learn how to properly wear your mask,
to stretch your arms,
social distance, and properly wash your hands this COVID-19 season.
Great idea, Elsa.
Join Captain Tumaini this Saturday on Big Mind at 9 to 10 a.m. to learn more.
This program was made possible through the support of USAID and Ministry of Health.
Hey, he's not my friend. He's an acquaintance. Such a thug. And trust me, one day you'll pay for it.
Please, undo exactly what I tell you to.
Okay. Tanya, I will not sign anything unless I know what's happening. See, the only thing that I agreed to in this stupid plan of yours was to get my mother's health back.
You don't have to advertise it to the whole world.
To our valued customers, listeners, and viewers, we thank you for being our valued partner. KBC is grateful for the pleasure of serving you, and we hope to continue meeting your expectations. Happy Customer Service Week from us. We celebrate you.
Sauti ya Kenya.
Juu milimani na hata mabondeni, Radio Taifa inatamba kutamba. Sasa unaweza kupokea matangazo ya Radio Taifa loud and clear popote ulipo Western Kenya.
Radio Taifa usisahau, unaweza ukatupata kupitia
ukiwa Busia, Siaya, Vihiga, Mumias, Yala na maeneo yaliyoko karibu. Radio Taifa inapatikana kwenye 104.5 FM, na ukiwa Bungoma, Kakamega, Kiminini, Kipkaren na viunga vyake, pata vipindi na burudani safi kupitia 92.3 FM. Radio Taifa, sauti ya Mkenya.
Good evening and welcome to the broadcast as we kickstart the coverage of what has been making news in the country and beyond. We got details of that and much more. My name is Serfine Achieng, and of course tonight also is a night where two presidential hopefuls meet right here on Prime Edition.
Right, and tonight we will be hosting two presidential hopefuls. We'll start off with the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who we spoke to earlier, and then live in studio, Reuben Kigame, the legendary musician who is running for president in the year 2022. We'll have these conversations lined up for you in this bulletin. So it's an action-packed bulletin. Welcome. My name is John Jacob Kioria, and we kick off this bulletin. Right, and our sign language interpreter tonight is Byron Abuli. Please start engaging us on social media at KBC Channel 1, at Serfine_Achieng, at Kioria. And of course, we would like to hear some of your views and the questions you have for our guest tonight. But first, let's begin with the top story. All right, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has dismissed claims that he is President Uhuru Kenyatta's preferred successor. Odinga says though he wouldn't mind support from President Uhuru Kenyatta in next year's general election, he is his own man and will mount a huge campaign to succeed the president once he has declared his bid officially. Odinga has also defended President Kenyatta from claims contained in the Pandora Papers, saying there is no wrong in running foreign accounts as long as the monies are not proceeds of crime. We had a sit down with him earlier. Here is the interview.
I've made it very clear that I'm having consultations with Kenyans, and I started in Nakuru, where I launched Azimio la Umoja wa Kenya, and I'm getting opinions of the people of Kenya on different issues. And I've seen that at the end of these consultations, which I hope is going to be by the end of this month, I will then I've made up my mind, and I will make an announcement if I'm going to run or if I'm not going to run. So it is a period of consultations, and I'm very happy with the results I'm getting from the people of Kenya. It's helped me to also reconnect with other parts of the country and to also appreciate the problems, the progress, and so on and so forth. I am a Kenyan, and I am very concerned about our country. I believe that our country has got great potential to move forward, and it is possible to realize the dreams of the founding fathers of this nation, which is coined in our national anthem, and that we can make a transition, a real transition. We have made quite a bit of progress in my lifetime, like the second liberation managed to achieve not just multipartyism, but a new constitution, which has basically liberalized our country, created a culture of tolerance, and a culture of constitutionalism. So Kenyans now are very much conscious of their rights. And they have institutions that also help them to protect their rights. To me, this is a major achievement. It's a fundamental transition. But we still have not been able to realize our economic potential, which will liberate our people from poverty. And to me, that is my main concern. After the BBI ruling from the Court of Appeal, you released a statement that said it's time to move on. What exactly did you mean by moving on? And is Azimio la Umoja part of moving on? We didn't quite agree with the findings of the judiciary, but that was a view, but we respected their rights, because that is their responsibility. And we say that we are not going ourselves to contest it further, but anybody else was free to do so. And I see that Attorney General has gone to the Supreme Court. We were actually concerned that some of those rulings, if allowed to stand, will handicap the Kenyans from making any improvements or changes in the governance structure of our country. But he said, let's move on to find a way of getting our people together, because Kenyans are going for an election. And in an election, Kenyans want to pay more attention to pressing issues of the day, rather than just stick on the Constitution, the amendment, the BBI, which was still locked up in court. And that's why we launched the Azimio la Umoja, to have a conversation with the country on some of these other pressing issues. Because they say that there's so many ways of skinning a cat. So BBI was one of it. And if BBI failed, there's no, I mean, you don't surrender. You look for other alternatives. And that's why we're here.
Sure, through the tours that you've made throughout the country, you have a feel already of what Kenyans want in terms of leadership. And probably you've made a decision on whether you're going to run or not. But probably can just describe to us the feel you have of the kind of leadership Kenyans want, beyond 2022.
I think Kenyans want a transformative leadership. Not just a leader, but a leadership. See, Kenyans are tired of empty rhetoric, empty words, empty promises, which are not realized. You see, and they see the sloganeering for what it is. You remember in 2013, there was a phrase called digital generation. That the other people are digital and the others are analog. Everything is going to be digital when we take over. There's going to be, every child is going to be internet connectivity everywhere. You see, those children who were promised laptop in 2013 are finishing high school now. They're looking for going to be the labor market, and now you're being told that you will get a wheelbarrow. So if you're digital, what do you do with a wheelbarrow? You see, people, Kenyans understand. They don't know that they're talking to the same Kenyans. Then there was issues of the stadia, which were promised. That each and every county there will be a state-of-the-art stadium. All those are now, nobody ever talks about those promises. That jobs will be created everywhere. That wherever is written hakuna kazi, it will be changed and to read kuna kazi. Now that itself does not materialize. Now the unemployment is at the rate of 40%. So Kenya, they're just talks. When it comes to election period, you can come up with so-called bottoms up and so on, but that's not what Kenyans want. Kenyans want to see what is practical, what is realizable, what is going to happen. You see? So as I'm having these conversations, I feel a state of helplessness, hopelessness, because they don't believe that the leaders are actually telling them the truth, that they're tired of this sloganeering and empty promises which will never be realized. And I hope at the end of this I'm going to come up with something that is concrete, which I will be able to now share with Kenyans and tell them that this is the way to resolve these problems.
What do you say about this statement that you are President Kenyatta's preferred successor in 2022?
I'm not aware of that statement. At least he has never told me that I'm his preferred candidate. I think he said he was going to talk at some time. But all I know is that I'm not his project. That if I'm going to run as Raila Odinga, and I have already run for president. I have a track record which is known. I don't need to be sponsored by anybody. I will go to Kenyans themselves and tell them what I've done in the past and what I'm capable of doing in the future. And if the president gives me support, backs me, it will be a compliment, and I will be very happy to receive it.
Are you counting on the deep state? And what is deep state in any way?
I don't know what he meant by the deep state. I saw recently somebody saying the deep state can make a difference, and which is basically an admission of what has happened in the past. I think this is one of the things we wanted to clear with the president when we shook hands. That we don't want each and every time Kenyans go to the polls for there to be hue and cry of cheating, which sometimes ends in bloodshed, lives being lost unnecessarily. We want there to be free and fair elections where people concede that I lost and you won, and people shake hands, and that becomes the end of the electioneering process. We don't want to have this situation where a year before the elections, everything comes to a standstill, and the year after elections, still things are not working. So that we want to find that in a cycle of 5 years, the economy is only running for 3 years. 2 years are wasted because of the elections. That we want to stop. Sioni kama kuna shida kuwa na account katika nchi ya kigeni. Ijapokuwa ikiwa kama imekuwa ni ya ufisadi, ijulikane wewe ulifungua hiyo account lini, ni kwa sababu gani, na pesa ambayo imeingia huko ilitoka wapi. Kwa hivyo mimi nina hakika kweli itatoka. Uhuru tayari amesema amefurahi ya kwamba yale yametolewa, na yeye akirudi ataongea zaidi, ataeleza wa Kenya yale ukweli ambayo iko juu hiyo.
All right, there you have it. Raila Odinga has had his say, and in just a bit, legendary musician who is also a presidential hopeful, Reuben Kigame, will also be having his say with regards to his 2022 presidential bid right here on Prime Edition, so do stay with us. But before that, Deputy President William Ruto has emphasized the need to foster the growth of micro, small and medium enterprises. Ruto said lack of proper infrastructure and legal framework has exposed entrepreneurs to tough working conditions and exploitative tendencies, curtailing their growth. Deputy President William Ruto met grassroots leaders from Transmara and Emurwa Dikir in Kilgoris. Ruto calling for the support of micro, small and medium enterprises.
Pale ndio kuna biashara 80%, na hawa watu hawana mbinu, hawajapangiwa ile infrastructure ya vile watafanya biashara yao bila ya kuumizwa na jua ama mvua. Hawajapangiwa legal regime, sheria ambayo italinda biashara ya kila mtu, na pia haijapangwa vizuri financial infrastructure ambayo itahakikisha ya kwamba hawa watu wanatafuta mikopo mahali ambapo hawawezi kuumizwa na Shylock na Fuliza.
The DP also challenged his rivals to engage in issue-driven politics.
Kabla hatujaongea vile tutagawana mamlaka kule juu, lazima kwanza tuongee vile biashara ya mtu mdogo anaweza kusaidika, asipigwe na jua, asiumizwe na mvua, asifukuzwe na askari, asiangaishwe na Shylock, wasiangaishwe na mambo ya Fuliza. tuwe na pesa ya serikali ya kusaidia wafanyabiashara wadogo kwa sako ama kwa cooperative yao. Nyinyi mnanielewa? Kwa sababu hiyo ndio biashara kubwa inaendelea Kenya. 80%, asilimia 80 ya Kenya wanafanya biashara hizo ndogo ndogo, inaitwa micro, small and medium enterprises.
And now Kenya has received 252,000 doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine directly procured by the government. Speaking after receiving the consignment at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, the COVID-19 Task Force Chair, Dr. Willis Sakwale, said Wednesday's consignment is the second in a series of direct procurements by the government. The government has set aside 14.3 billion shillings for 13 million doses of the vaccine.
The COVID-19 Task Force Chair Dr. Willis Sakwale, while receiving the vaccine, said the arrival now brings the number to 393,600 of the expected 13 million doses. Johnson & Johnson is one single-shot vaccine dose.
We have also recommended and guided that it be deployed in hard-to-reach areas where you have mobile populations who may have challenges to get them twice. At this time, for us to open our economy, we must get Kenyans vaccinated. That is a condition towards opening our economy.
The government has expressed optimism of receiving similar doses of the vaccine in the coming weeks. To date, close to 4 million people have been vaccinated, with the government targeting another 1.8 million by October 20th. In Mombasa, the county boss Ali Hassan Joho is calling on residents to go for the jab. The governor was in the company of US Ambassador Eric Needler when receiving 64,700 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccines, 29,960 Moderna vaccines, and 1,050 Johnson & Johnson vaccines from the US government.
So I want us to move away from the notion that vaccines are harmful. They are not. And it is not the first vaccines we're taking.
We've had a great partnership with the Ministry of Health in getting the vaccine here and getting it out and into arms. The syringes really are sort of the last mile.
Joho issued a stern warning to imposters commercializing the vaccines, urging locals to embrace strides by the government in combating the deadly virus. Yusuf Farr reporting for Prime Edition.
Right, in that report by Yusuf Farah takes us to our first break right here on Prime Edition, but still more lined up ahead for you.
Obviously, and of course when we come back, like you said, ably, Raila Odinga has had his moment, and we'll be having a legendary musician, Reuben Kigame. He's been speaking about heaven, and he thinks it's also time now to speak about issues of the earth.
Yeah, we will be hearing that and much more. Please start sending in your questions and your tweets. We'll be tracking them when we come back from this particular break. Use the hashtag Prime Edition.
All right.
Ina haja sana kwa kila mtoto katika nchi yetu tukufu apate elimu, na tukifanya mambo kama hayo tutapata watu ambao watashikilia madaraka ya serikali yetu tukufu na kazi nyinginezo katika republic yetu. Kwa hivyo nyinyi mkiwa hapa mjue kwamba mna kazi muhimu sana ya kuwaelimisha watoto wetu, na kwa hivyo tukishirikiana pamoja na raia na serikali tutakuwa na kazi njema ya kuendesha nchi yetu mbele.
Hold us to speak to presidential hopeful Reuben Kigame, a legendary musician known to so many of you. And now he's tossed his hat in the ring. He wants to be Kenya's next president of the Federal Party of Kenya, or FPK. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
I'm very happy to be here.
All right.
Yes.
Why are you running for president, Reuben?
Because you're not. You see,
because I'm not running.
Yes. And the point is, we need a fresh start. We need a totally new Kenya that is driven by leaders that have not been in office before. I need to, to make that very clear from the onset, because I think it is insane to keep doing things the same way and then expect different results. We have all these people that have been in office before, promising the same things over and over again, and some of them still in office. And we are still expecting that somehow a miracle will happen and they will offer the kind of leadership they've promised for ages. So I think it's time to rewrite Kenyan history and rebuild our country from scratch.
All right.
And there's just one big reason. Ever since 1963, we have been trying to eliminate three problems. That is ignorance, poverty, and disease. Our founding fathers told us that. And right through, every government has hitchhiked on that. Now, the amazing thing is that 58 years down the line, we still have those three problems, but now we have a fourth one. And that is corruption and impunity. Now, that has gone through the window. And I don't think any of the candidates that are moving around looking for votes are really open to that particular aspect of solving the fourth major problem of Kenya. And so I'm committed to all the four, and I'm hoping that I can bring to the table a record that is able to tackle these head-on because of the courage and the experiences as a common man that I've had. But I'm also laying my life on the line, saying, examine me. My own faith tells me that accountability is a big thing. You know, that your yes should be yes and your no should be no.
Let's talk about that just a bit, and focus on the issues of, because listening to these presidential candidates you're talking about, they appear to have identified economic recovery as a paramount issue when it comes to the next election. Is that a top agenda?
That's a big lie.
It's a big lie.
It's a huge lie. In fact, if I would be as open as a brother can be to another, the problem of Kenya is not economics. We have a lot of income. We have a lot of money. We have a lot of resources. The problem is that all these resources sneak through a few hands. As JM used to say, you have Kenya of 10 billionaires and 10 million poor people. And that is not acceptable. So the problem really is not economics, it is our values. We have completely lost what it means to be a people of integrity. We can't trust each other. Each time the government gives you a statement, you can't trust it. You always imagine that there's something that is not being said. Every time we investigate a scandal or whatever it is, we never quite see the reports. There is no transparency on projects. SGR, nobody knows who signed the documents, how much it cost, with who. So there is this lack of integrity, lack of accountability. And ironically, Chapter 6 of our Constitution calls for leaders to be elected on the basis of integrity and accountability.
Quite important, and you talk about values, but I'm just wondering, you've had complaints of the skyrocketing and the ballooning cost of living, obviously added up with the issues of fuel prices, or the economy has not been doing badly. Reuben, is that just about values?
Yes,
or
it is
a
about
serious underlying problem of economic?
It is about values because it comes in three arms. One is state capture, where you have an executive that has completely annexed the legislature as well as punished the judiciary in the name of revisiting certain things. So you have a very hypocritical approach, for example, to the fuel crisis, where Parliament passes all these laws and then pretends that they know nothing about it. They're also shocked. So you have that state capture, just pass this, they pass. They pass this, So that's one arm. The other arm is that everything that is spent in Kenya cannot be trusted because it comes with a tinge of corruption. And so whether you're talking about how much a road costs or whether you're talking about vaccines coming into the country, you don't know what is government and what is donation. Then there is a third angle, and that has just emerged recently with the Pandora leaks. And that is, all these offshore bankings that seem to always coincide with aid that is given to the country. If you look at the Africa report that is coming, on the heels of these revelations, they're basically saying every time you receive a donation in Kenya, some money disappears. And the problem is that lack of accountability means that a lot of that money is therefore not taxable. So you don't, people don't pay taxes on all of that. But also it means that instead of investing in the country, some people are investing offshore before we can develop our own country. So if you are going to fix this country, the first thing you need to fix is character. Because if you have people of character in government, then you can trust that your taxes will be safe. You can trust that if money is meant for food or money is meant for medicines, that it will go to that. Otherwise, it will always come to somebody's pocket.
I'm assuming it's good you're talking about values, and I'm just thinking, we elect Reuben Kigame, a man of character and value. How do we instill this in Kenyans? Or you will just end up being the president who has values and character, but your citizens?
Good question. You see, and I want to speak to every Kenyan as clearly as a brother could to another. Now, every time you think about, forming a government in Kenya, like in 2022, come, September of 2022, you have to ask yourself this: who is going to be in government? Because the people who are going to be in government are not appointed at that point of when the CSs and ambassadors and so on are named. The whole process of a bad government begins during the campaign period. And it is because people give candidates money in expectation that if this candidate goes into office, they will get certain positions or tenders. And so the place to start in terms of scrutiny with regard to whether a government will be successful or not is for Kenyans to look at who is spending what and how. The way money is being dished in Kenya, you would think that money falls from the sky. You look at somebody's salary, you look at somebody's businesses, and you wonder, how can one person have so much? So the question is, can we trust that whoever cannot resist illicit money now during the campaign can actually therefore form a government of national unity and a government of meritocracy? That is our problem, because if I give you 10 million for your campaign, you will tell me, don't worry, I'll give you an appointment, either as a CS or a position. And some of these people are not clean. So we're not looking at their character. We need to go right back to this person that is coming in or being named. Can we look back to how they were in high school? Can we look at how they were in college? Can we look at how they have led as a chief or as someone in the village, even, or as a pastor? So if you've been named in taking somebody's money or wife or resources, surely you will take advantage of the nation. There's a preacher who is called D.L. Moody, who used to say, if someone has been stealing bolts and nuts from a railway line, if you take them to school or give them such positions, they'll steal the whole railway line. So the point is, we can't ignore character at all.
We cannot ignore character.
No, and we shouldn't.
Let's talk about you being a religious leader, a gospel musician in the country, and now wanting to run for the highest office. Politics is always said to be dirty and murky. How are you going to maneuver that?
So first of all, politics is said to be dirty because those in it are dirty, not because politics itself is dirty. I mean, if it was, then how how would you explain the fact that in Zambia we have Seventh-day Adventist who is a president, and in Malawi next door you have Chakwera who was an Assemblies of God president? How would you explain the fact that there are Muslim countries that are led by people that are religious? So you can't divorce religion from politics. In fact, religion does sanitize. In fact, religion can sanitize politics or clean it up. So what we need right now is people of value. And once you become a president, by the way, you don't become a president for religious people only. Even those without faith, even those who are seeking, you have to be the president of all.
A quick follow-up on that, Reuben, because you've been in this country, and there's no time the church has stood in the dock. Like probably the last 6 or 7 years, or the church is accused of being compromised probably by agents of state, or becoming fence sitters on issues of national importance. Your word.
So on the one hand, I think it's unfair to say that of the church, because sometimes because you expect the church to speak a particular way, when they don't, you imagine that they're quiet. And sometimes, there are people who've been speaking, we ignore, and then we say the church is not speaking. I think it's unfair. But on the other hand, I would say that the church has always spoken. In fact, in 2007, they raised a presidential candidate. And, you've had Christians running, Muslims running. So religion has been part and parcel of our political discourse all through. It's just we hypocritical Kenyans imagine that there are no religious people that can lead. In fact, every time I step out and say I'm running, the average Kenyan tells me, remember what happens to Pius Muiru. And I ask them, but I'm not Muiru. But on the other hand, what do you say of people who refuse to elect Muiru, and what do you get for it? Post-election violence, isn't it? So what is that? But on the other hand, so it's not actually Muiru who failed to offer himself. It is Kenyans who didn't elect him. But what would you say of Muiru himself calling me a few weeks ago at his church and saying, Reuben, I tried, and I put the key in ignition, and I started off with the first gear. Now please take it from there and take it uphill.
Wow, fantastic.
So that kind of endorsement, and people are still like, remember what happened to Muiru? And that is the only tired line people give me. Why don't they look at Reuben Kigame, the teacher at Maryhill High School, the teacher at Africa International University, the media person who ran media for 10 years, who's been broadcasting in different media? Why don't they look at Reuben, the
in that way?
How come you always? And by the way, we always seem to look at people by virtue of negation or failure. I don't know why we don't look at the success lines or positive. How come I can sit here with you as a completing PhD student, and people just imagine, I sing 24 hours. So it's nothing wrong with singing.
Less than a minute, because I need to wind
somehow we put people in a box.
I need to wind up, Reuben, in less than a minute.
Yes.
The voter registration is ongoing.
Yes.
I'm sure obviously you want to appeal to young voters who've been called.
Absolutely. I've been talking to them. In fact, I don't know.
Your clarion call.
Yeah.
Finally. Yes.
So I don't know why IEBC in particular has not been particularly vocal this time in preparing the country for this particular 30-day registration. That is a failure on Chebukati and his team.
All right.
And so we are now doing catch-up. And when I hear the IEBC talk, it's like, Kenyans are not turning out. You haven't told them there's anything. So most of them are being caught unawares. But secondly, now that the voter registration is on, I'm hoping that as many young people as possible, almost 70% of this country's population, I'm hoping that they will give a chance to somebody with fresh ideas, who built on integrity, and someone that understands the youth much, much more than any of these leaders that are going around.
Right.
These people, by the way, don't even respect the law.
Okay.
That's why they are super spreaders of COVID. They can't even keep their own law. So let's have people of values come in and show you how we can rebuild Kenya, not just for ourselves, but for posterity.
All right, fantastic conversation with Reuben Kigame, running for president on an FPK ticket, the Federal Party of Kenya.
Actually, I might be changing, but I will be announcing that pretty soon. Yes.
His mind quite sharp and upright. Will assist of the issues in the country. Thank you very much, Reuben,
I appreciate
for coming tonight.
And by the way, you look good.
Thank you. Interesting. Let me hand you back to Serfine Achieng, and we'll continue with the day's news.
Interesting indeed, John Jacob Kioria. Great interview there you had with Reuben Kigame. Now, away from matters politics, we shift gears a little bit on COVID-19. The country's COVID-19 infection rate has dropped slightly to 2.7% after 130 people tested positive for the disease in the last 24 hours. The Ministry of Health says the number was confirmed from a sample size of 4,869, taking the total number of cases confirmed so far to 250,510. In the latest statistics, 25 more deaths have been recorded, all of them from late audits conducted in October this year. The death toll now stands at 5,175. Globally, over 235 million cases have been reported, with the number of fatalities now at over 4.8 million, as per data from Johns Hopkins University. Meanwhile, over 3.9 million COVID-19 vaccines have been administered nationwide. Now, along the corridors of justice, businessman Tom Mboya Oyua has been sentenced to 20 years in jail for attempted murder and 3 years for wounding hotelier William Osewe in 2016. Milimani Chief Magistrate Martha Mutuku, while delivering the sentence, said the prosecution had proven beyond reasonable doubt that Oyua shot and wounded Osewe. In 2016, Oyua opened fire on victim William Osewe, who runs the Ranalo food chain, at a restaurant along Thika Road, leaving him with serious injuries. Osewe spent some time in hospital to have the bullets removed. Oyua now stays at 20 years for attempted murder and 3 years in jail for wounding Osewe. The two sentences will run concurrently. And the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has expressed fears it could fail to meet its enhanced voter registration target of 33,000 in Naivasha, owing to shortage of personnel in the vast constituency. Naivasha already has 145,000 registered voters. This as low turnout continued across the country.
As per the IEBC records, Naivasha has the highest number of registered voters in Nakuru County, as the one-month enhanced voter registration exercise takes place countrywide this October. According to the Commission's registration officer in Naivasha, David Mbui, clerks are overstretched in efforts to meet the set targets of 33,351 new voters. He noted that they were monitoring alleged massive voter transfer, mainly from flower farm workers who lost their jobs at the height of COVID-19 and had relocated to other areas in search of jobs.
Sehemu nyingine kama Maimayo na Mayela unakuta kwamba ni sehemu kubwa sana. Kwa hivyo kuweza kuzunguka hii sehemu, najua tutakuwa na changamoto kiasi. Changamoto nyingine ni ya vijana. Vijana wanasema ndio wana sauti, ndio hawa, lakini hamu ya kujisajilisha haimo. Ndio tunaomba tafadhali, njooni msajilishe, uongee kama umekata kura yako.
This as Matuga MP Kasim Tandaza is decrying what he alleges to be discrimination in issuance of ID cards. According to Tandaza, youths applying for IDs in his constituency are subjected to tedious vetting process because the constituency is bordering Tanzania.
Tuna tatizo la vitambulisho. Ile vetting system ambayo iko ukweli ni kipingamizi kikubwa kwa kupatia mkazi wa Pwani, hasa wa Kwale County, ile stakabadhi muhimu kabisa ya kuonyesha kwamba yeye ni Mkenya ndio aweze kujiandikisha.
Meanwhile, Kemba, Member of Parliament Njuguna Wanjiko, is urging his opponents who have filed an election petition in court to withdraw the petition so as to allow the IEBC to conduct voter registration in the area during the October window. The Elections Act bars IEBC from conducting voter registration in a constituency where there is an active election petition. The Kemba MP says there are over 40,000 youths who are set to be locked out in the registration because of the petition.
Kulingana na IEBC kuanzia kutoka February kuanzia 2022-2027 kutakuwa na boundaries review. So our numbers is what will determine whether we'll be given another constituency depending with the numbers that we have. So if we deny these young people this opportunity to ensure that they register as voters, then that means it is working against us.
Meanwhile, low turnout continues across the country. According to Jeremiah Gadeshi, an IEBC official in charge of Thika Township ward, despite the Commission's robust campaign, the Commission still requires other players like politicians to take part in the voter registration campaign.
Both the challenge which we are getting now, it's most of people want transfers, but the transfers are only to be done from the office. Na most watu wengi wanakuja bila ID, so na kimwambia the requirement anasema anarudia ID atakuja.
And in Nyamira County, the situation was no different.
The most important thing right now is to make sure that every voter, eligible voter, is registered, so that then we can move to the next exercise where now we'll tell them to come out and vote. They can choose the government they want.
Now, awards are expansive. And since they are large, it would have been better even to double the number of kits that are available, to make it easier for more participants to participate in the general elections, which is really a civic duty of citizens.
Beatrice Gatonyangetich, Prime Edition.
And now, National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi has directed the House Departmental Committee on Security and Administration to look into the issue of insecurity in Laikipia and table a report in 60 days. The move by the Speaker comes amid a petition by Laikipia residents requiring Parliament to investigate the banditry attacks and provide a lasting solution to the perennial skirmishes.
Persistent banditry attacks in Laikipia and its environs. The latest being the shooting of 3 National Police reservists patrolling Olmoran village last night, allegedly by 2 illegal herders, has pushed residents to petition Parliament. According to security officers, the 3 suffered serious injuries. One was shot in the stomach, another one in the leg, and the third had his arm shattered with bullets.
Tumekuwa wachache sana na sasa unakuta vile tumezuia hata mpaka mambo ya wizi kwa kusanzana kwa hii maranjas kwa hata mpaka kwa community, kwa sababu hata sasa tunafanya kwa area maranjas lakini tunatoka hata nje kusaidia hata mpaka community. Sasa ndio unakuta hiyo maadui wanaenda kwa kila njia, tukikutana naye mahali ni sisi wanatafuta tu usiku na mchana kila wakati. So hiyo ndio imeleta hii mambo yote.
Juzi askari wengine walipigwa risasi wakaenda hospitali ya Nyahururu, lakini sasa tunaangalia tunaona askari ni wengi sana wanazunguka kila pahali. Lakini tunajiuliza swali, kwa nini hivi vitendo inatendeka saa hizi? Tunataka Mheshimiwa Matiang'i atoe order hawa majangili wote warokotwe na commissioner wa polisi hata aje hapa aone vile mambo inaendelea hapa.
MPs now calling upon the committee to ensure justice is served and persons accused of harming the community are prosecuted.
The petition therefore calls for urgent resolution of the current land disputes in Laikipia occasioned by historical and emerging acts of injustice in a bid to address the aforementioned manifestations of impunity and disorder.
We cannot allow people to come and lie on the Hansard and at the same time incite population in Laikipia, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, as we try to resolve, let also Matiang'i appear and explain if they exist that absentee landlord in terms of 15,000 hectares, because it can benefit a lot.
In the petition, residents enumerated what they say are the causes of insecurity in the area, which includes the issue of absentee landowners, arbitrary arrest of those who act in the interest of the community, human-wildlife conflict occasioned by land shortage, opaque land deals, and failure by the Ministry of Lands to act on expired land leases.
Kuna havu kama kwamba tuliambiwa operation inafanywa Oromoran, lakini sisi kutoka operation niambiwa inafanywa, hakuna operation sisi tumewaiona. Tunaona tu watu wakikufa, watu wakikufa risasi tu inapigwa kila siku hakuna siku ya bure bila risasi.
For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Mungai.
Welcome back. It's time for business news. My name is Carol Jenker. Now, Office of the Auditor General has expressed concern of the government's inability to manage records of Kenya's public debt. The office has highlighted poor maintenance of the public debt register and unexplained variances between various records. Auditor General Nancy Gathongo says there is a need for formulation and implementation of a debt management strategy to deal with the public debt crisis in the country. According to the Office of the Auditor General, Kenya's public debt has increased to 7.6 trillion shillings as of 30th June 2021. This is an increase of 4.2 trillion shillings, representing 125% jump over a period of 6 years. The debt comprises of 3.99 billion shillings external debt and 3.6 billion shillings domestic debt. The expenditure on public debt has also increased over the 6-year period from 421.45 billion shillings to 867.3 billion shillings this financial year. In a report released today on the current debt status, the Office of the Auditor General says the growth in public debt has been attributed to disbursements of new loans to the government by various development partners and additional borrowings from the domestic market through treasury bonds and bills to bankroll yawning budget deficits. Auditor General Nancy Gathongo has expressed concerns over the government's ability to manage debt, citing malabsorption of allocations, poor maintenance of the public debt records, and unexplained variances between various records. The report indicates that for the year ended 30th June 2020, there is an unexplained variance of 2 billion shillings between the internal loans, short-term borrowing balance of 887.1 billion shillings reflected in the summary statement of public debt and the recomputed closing balance of 885.1 billion shillings. Gathongo says the over-redemption of 2 billion shillings was not acknowledged by the Central Bank of Kenya and may therefore not be recoverable. There was also a non-disclosure of public debt procured during the 2019-2020 financial year. The Office of the Auditor General further says they are in the process of undertaking a comprehensive performance audit on public debt servicing activities and determination of borrowing needs activities. The Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority has called on around 400,000 non-compliant public and private organizations to report unclaimed financial assets in their possession before the November 2021 deadline. The agency says the estimated 241 billion in financial assets still remain unreported by non-compliant institutions as the agency look to double claimants reunited with assets to 10,000 by 2022.
According to the Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority, the total number of possible unclaimed financial assets holders in the country is estimated to be 477,122,000, with the financial service sector commanding more than 60% of the total outstanding unclaimed financial assets of 241 billion shillings. This means that despite efforts, there is a limited number of institutions willing to declare unclaimed financial assets.
Claims in relation to what we are holding remains low, and we have a commitment to actually move from 1% to 5%.
Challenges in approaching potential financial unclaimed assets institutions have been identified as some of the bottlenecks in the system.
The responsibility of the holder is to make sure that they reunify at the source, so that whatever comes to the authorities, what they are not able to reunify. So it is their responsibility to do so. And if you go to all banks nowadays, you find they have a section for unclaimed assets. The officers employed there are supposed to make sure that they reach out to these people before the assets come to the authority.
Currently, UFA says, in partnership with Huduma Kenya, the Office of the Auditor General, coupled with a new unclaimed financial assets management system, the agency hopes to reunite 10,000 claimants with their assets in 2021 from 440 and 5,000 in 2017 and 2021 respectively.
With Huduma, we will be available across the country, and that we will raise the quality of service to our customers, and that in our collaboration and partnership with the Office of the Auditor General, we will be able to improve compliance of the Act, but we also welcome them in their core function of holding us accountable.
I would say that we have developed a very cordial relationship with our client, that is UFA, not necessarily cascading aspersions to the independence of our audit, but as a result of what you call the whole of government approach. In as much as UFA is supposed to come up with the figures and the facts and who owns what, then they are supposed to do a certain form of audit to determine whether an entity may be holding such assets.
UFA also projects to trim the number of estimated current unclaimed financial assets in the next 5 years to 156 billion. With 20 billion shillings in cash and 1.2 billion in shares, the Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority says that it is receiving more than it is giving out. People are just simply not coming to claim their financial assets. Alan Auko, Prime Edition.
Thank you, Alan Oko, for that story. And now the government paid 1.3 billion shillings in demurrage fees to all companies between January and June this year. And this is according to the Finance Committee of the National Assembly. This is a story. We are following it up, and you can look for it, or we will bring it to you during our subsequent bulletins. Now I'll leave you with how the currency has been, or the Kenya shilling has been trading against other major currencies, as well as how shares are performing at the Nairobi Securities Exchange. My name is Carol Jenga. Have a good night.
Kupata sikiza tune hii ya kibeti, bonyeza star 811 star 962 hash.
Aki umefanya vizuri sana kunifikia hii simu sasa. Nimekuwa na stress kutoka asubuhi kabisa. Na ni huyu mtu ambaye alikuwa anapatiana majina ya vitu. Kwani hakutufikiria sisi watu wa Eastern Ukambani. Ni nani alisema ati wife kwa Kiswahili ni mke? Na akasema ati handbaka. Hii inabebwa na mwanamke, handbaka. Ati kwa Kiswahili ni kibeti. Huku kwetu mke ndiye kibeti.
Ili kupata sikiza tune hiyo ya kibeti, bonyeza star 811 star 962 hash. Star 811 star 962 hash.
Good evening, I'm Richard Munga with the Daily Sports Update. Now, national football team Harambee Stars will hope to better their chances of advancing to the third round of the 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifiers when they play away to Mali in Morocco tomorrow. Mali currently tops Group E with 4 points after registering a win and a draw so far, 2 points ahead of second-placed Kenya, who have only managed 2 draws in 2 matches. After registering 2 consecutive draws against Uganda and Rwanda, Harambee Stars go into tomorrow's match aware that a win will serve to improve their chances of qualifying for the third round of qualifiers, where the 10 group winners will fight for the 5 available slots in next year's FIFA World Cup in Qatar. This will be only the third meeting between the two sides, and Kenya are yet to register a win against Mali.
The speculations, them being stronger than us, maybe it's true, maybe not, but I mean, in the field is 11 players and we bring our own qualities now. I think tutakuwa able to compete. So the most important thing in the 90 minutes to nahitaji more. Whoever wants it more, that I get.
Their last meeting came in Group B of the 2004 Africa Cup of Nations when Freddy Kanute scored a brace to help Mali secure a 3-1 victory en route to their 4th place finish.
I think Kenya tuta surprise watu wengi sana, because at the end of the day we have been underdogs for a long time. We have been in the African Cup and now we are going for the World Cup.
Za kuwa na wachezaji wanacheza top league, but attitude ina dependigi a lot on the game day.
Kenya are currently unbeaten in 6 matches with 3 draws and 3 wins recorded, while Mali have just 1 win from the last 5 matches. Stars head coach Engin Firat called up 26 players to dispute the double-header against Mali, with the return leg set for Sunday in Nairobi, Kenya. The squad is balanced between home-based players and their foreign-based counterparts. Meanwhile, Nandi County Senator Samson Cherargei has called on all teams from the country to show up in big numbers in the upcoming Heroes Community Volleyball Tournament that is set to take place at the Koita level Samoa University. Rather, the 2-day event will start on the 16th till the 17th of this month.
Speaking during the presentation of sponsorship of the trophies, Nandi County Senator Samson Cherargei encouraged the volleyball players to show up for the event, for it will be a form of uniting Kenyans.
I like the sports people, be it athletes, be it football, be it volleyball. There is a winner and there is a loser, and at the end of the day they greet each other, and everybody goes home and accept the defeat, or and also when you are celebrating, so celebrate with moderation. That is what I have learned about the world of sports.
His words were echoed by the Malkia Strikers coach Paul Bitok, who also assured the sports persons that it will be a form of tracing and scouting players who will join the national team.
It will be our first edition. We introduced this tournament to honor those ones who have been in sports for a very long time, who helped us, especially those who are still active at the moment. We will also use this tournament to detect and to have new talents who we saw it's important for us to continue supporting the young generation and to have youth and junior following our culture, which we already started.
The 2-day event will take place at the Koitalel Samoa University, and more than 50 teams have confirmed their participation. In the event, 8 categories will participate, with both team and individual awards presented. Daniel Mwendwa for Prime Edition Sports.
To other matters now, Zimbabwe's Robson Chinoi produced a 2 under par 70 in the final round of the second leg in the Safari Tour Season 4 at the tough-playing par 72 Vetlab Sports Club course today, where besides the winner's trophy, the Zimbabwean also pocketed 308,000 shillings, 293 shillings. This week's tournament had attracted a field of 64 players, though only 24 players made the second round cut to proceed to the last two rounds. It was a slow start for the experienced Chinoi, who last season won 3 events in the tour as he bogeyed the second and third holes. He, however, made the day's first birdie at the par 5 fifth hole and added one more at the par 3 eighth to level the 9 en route to the back 9, where he birded the 12th and 15th for the day's 2 under par and a tournament aggregate of 5.
I think for now it's like I said, you know, I have to give myself a chance to hit enough greens and to be able to finish the decent score, which I did today, and the course was playing good.
He won by 2 shots against Sigona's Mohit Medirata, home pro Mike Kisi and round 2 leader Greg Snow.
It's hard to say a weakness point when you shoot 4 under par. I mean, I was 5 under par playing the 17th hole and I missed a 2-footer for par. So had I made that and given myself a chance to make birdie on the last, then yeah, who knows, we'd be in a playoff again. But you live, you learn, such is life.
Medirata, who started the tournament with a poor 78 on Sunday, managed to overcome all that and close the tournament with a fine 4 under par 68. Snow, on the other hand, shot 1 under par 71, despite making 4 birdies in the closing round, where he was engaged in a neck-and-neck battle with Chinoi and Mike Kisia.
A little bit disappointed. Couple of 3 putts coming in. Other than that, it's been alright. It's not been a great week. Ball striking wise, I need to work on that a bit for next week. But in terms of that, yeah, I'll take second.
Today I shot -1, and coming today I was -2. So I knew these boys, I need to keep it there. There was no chance for me to drop.
Globally now, Chelsea's women's team manager Emma Hayes says her team is heading into the Women's Champions League this season feeling confident and not preoccupied with their defeat in the final earlier this year to Barcelona. Meanwhile, Barcelona thrashed Arsenal 4-1 as the group matches got underway, with French side Lyon beating Achieng 3-0, while Bayern Munich were held to a barren draw against Benfica. European champions Barcelona produced a dominant display by beating Arsenal 4-1 in the Women's Champions League opener. Barcelona in complete control in the first half, and the champions made it count by netting 2 goals before the break.
Here's Oshuala again, takes a shot, punched away, now on the follow-up, surely! The first goal goes to Barcelona. Here's Oshuala. Arsenal were asking for the offside flag, but she keeps on going. There's the second. Alexia Putellas just slots it home for Barcelona.
Former Arsenal player Sisat Oshoala, who had assisted the second goal, slipped back her 3-0 ahead early in the second half.
Al dente. Here comes Asisat Oshuala. She's going to go 1-on-1. There's the third for Barcelona. It just looked too easy.
Before Arsenal found some rhythm and grabbed a goal back.
Toby Heath is looking. Could potentially just be going to get the curl on this ball. Sends it into the box. Here's Arsenal, get a goal back as well. Marnham with the touch on that one. Could this be a way back into the game for the visitors?
However, substitute Liek Martins made it 4-1, securing the win for Barca.
Lieke Martins will pick up this loose ball. A little bit of a nudge in the back. Lieke Martins! 4 for Barcelona. She came on as a substitute and instantly makes an impact.
Despite having a penalty saved late on,
it will be the captain, Alexia Putellas. Steps up, saved by Zinsberger.
Baka had a total of 35 shots on Arsenal's goal in the game, with Arsenal's Nsebaga making 10 saves on a humbling night for the Gunners, albeit with a much improved second half display. In another match, Ada Hagebag made her return from a 21-month injury absence as 7-time champions Lyon beat BK Häcken 3-0.
But there might be an opportunity here for Van der Donk. And Mala tucks it in. Mala, Basher, they're really looking dangerous here. Away, only as far as Macario. What a finish!
In tonight's matches, last season's finalist Chelsea will be hoping to get their campaign off to a good start when they play German side Wolfsburg, the team they beat in last season's quarterfinals, having previously been knocked out by them 3 times. The Blues, who have competed in 5 of the last 6 editions of the competition, were beaten 4-0 by Barcelona in Gothenburg in May as they made the first appearance by an English club in the final since 2007. Well, that's all the time that we had for Sports Night. But just as a reminder, Mali versus Kenya tomorrow in Morocco. KBC, obviously, will be bringing you that game live and direct, of course, from Morocco. KBC, true sports partner. I don't really get why it's even a debate anymore. But anyway, that's it for Sports
Tonight.
Watching
Your last story there.
It never disappoints.
I was actually thinking what position Serfine would hold in the pitch.
Oh.
Because there's women who will play.
Does she play football?
Anyway, let me just speak a few sentiments from Kenyans who were watching the interview tonight. Talking about Reuben Kigame, something he said about narrating Kenya's history.
Yeah.
Somebody says, Maxwell Oliver, we don't live in a trial era. Where do you see those leaders and how will you know if they're capable or not? And there's an Achieng who is praying for that Reuben Kigame makes him the agriculture minister. He will never complain about food security. And finally, as we wind up, every generation has been urged to bear the pain because the children will enjoy the fruits, and ignorance is the disease that poverty inflicts through conflicts of interest. Niliambukizwa lakini napona pona.
Pole pole. Guess what? It's Wednesday. Guess what's up next? What's coming up? Keep it right here, by the way. The rave is up next. Don't go too far. We will be doing this next week again on Wednesday, but on Sunday we are coming with the Sunday Express, so do keep us company. My name is Serfine Achieng. Our sign language interpreter has been Byron Abuli.
My name is John Jacob Kioria. Good night.
Have a good night.
Vera Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 227428 Thika branch, 0725 000-706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.
Realize our potential. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey, he's not my friend. He's an acquaintance.
Such a thug. And trust me, one day you'll pay for this.
Please, and do exactly what I tell you to.
Okay, Tanya, I will not sign anything unless I know what's happened. See, the only thing that I agreed to in this stupid plan of yours was to get my mother's health back.
You don't have to advertise it to the whole world.